The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron 868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM. The Living Room, casual conversations on serious topics.
Guys, it's a couple minutes after 6 p.m. We are here on the True Nation station, WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
All right, guys. So first and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? We must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
We know Tony P outside there doing his thing, but we still continuously thank the ancestors. And when I say ancestors, we talk of the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, the Taínos and the Calinagos, because we all know that Columbus lied. Right? And just really quickly, give my adjective with the P.
Let me go down passportative now.
What?
Passportative.
What? Is that a word?
Let me agree to disagree. Right? All I say is that you ask for something, you get it. You didn't have to like it. But passportative.
Yeah, but when I ask you something, I expect an actual word.
It's a word. It's a made up word, but it's a word. And now having me utilized, it's no longer made up. It might be unrecognized, but it exists.
Guys, this is The Living Room with yours truly, DJ Aaron 868. I'm always great and I'm never late. Alongside my bro with no fro. Apparently, he makes up his own flow.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage in the local stage.
And as I say, it's The Living Room, right, guys? We have a very action-packed show for you all as usual. Literally action-packed. Yeah, so we're gonna get very quickly to hang our hats and wiping our feet. I'll hang my hat first to the Trinidad and Tobago cyclists, not I was going to say the federation, but the cyclists, because we just participated in the elite Pan Am Games, right? And we walked away with 4 gold, 1 silver, and 2 bronze medal, which is a historical medal count.
Not bad at all.
All right. And I want to give a special commendation going out to Nicholas Paul, Kwesi Brown, Zion Polido, Tennille Campbell, and Akil Campbell, brother and sister.
Nice one.
Right? Congratulations. You all keep flying the flag high. I saw an article that's saying how we're looking like we'll be good for a medal in cycling in the next Olympics.
You see, but the culture developing now.
Yeah.
Within us, I have it. Anyway.
Exactly. A habit that clearly
Larry.
Yeah.
Larry.
Yeah, Larry don't go down that road because we don't want to go down there for anything. So
as we only hanging out hatchery.
Yeah.
We just want to mention here something that was on TTPS, that is Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Facebook page. WPC Iron Jordan fends off shoots bandit during robbery, honored by fellow officers. Now, the reason I'm hanging my hat on this particular incident is because this WPC responded to the call of duty and was engaged in a physical altercation with the suspect, who attempted to relieve her of her firearm and use it against her.
Nice. Okay.
She made a particular statement here that this is one of the reasons that I have my hat with this. He was bigger and stronger. I was determined that he was not getting away, even if it cost me my life. WPC Jordan recollected saying, when I was confronted with this situation, I responded the only way I knew how, and that was to fight.
All right.
She added, I'm not afraid to confront situations. Hence, when I was detailed to respond to this report, I was confident to lead my colleagues to the location of the crime. Thank you to our service member for still being here to continue putting in the
Really quickly, because we have our guests are here, I'm knocking on the door and they're playing the music in the car outside.
Okay.
I want to hang my hat to Pantry and Bagel with the series of concerts they are doing in the different regions. And a special commendation going out to Kivan Khalees and Panelda's Youth Steel Orchestra. I crave and I love to see the younger generation being passionate about our culture. And I hear now, seeing them try and jump on Sunday night was refreshing. Kivan, job well done. And I can't forget, big up to my band, NLCB Funclair, as well for bringing back the memory with their repertoire.
Last hang I had here,
Oh,
the Mitchum of XD Custom Shop in Chaguanas.
What he do?
This man exemplified the type of customer service that we so lacking in Trinidad and Tobago. I just want to say thanks for helping the lady with the high locks check and change her fuse. And because he's a man have his parts and detail in place, he didn't want to he didn't want us to buy back the fuse that he gave her. Like it was a legitimate just gesture as in a man in the industry who was helping somebody who couldn't do anything for him at that point in time.
Right.
I think to myself, if days when you're treating people when you're doing something for free, I can't imagine the way you treat people when you're charging them. So,
nice,
well done. And it's good to know that it's not businessmen out there who care about what they're doing like that and the people they're doing it for. So, on that note, Aaron?
Yeah. Today we welcome into the living room someone that I have known for numerous years, right? Mr. Rondell Renwick. He is a head coach and the director at Save Soul Goalkeeping Academy. He's the head goalkeeping coach at Deportivo Point Fortin. They just recently concluded the Ascension League where they finished fourth. And he's the head goalkeeping coach at Naparima College in San Fernando, right? He represented Gasparilla Composite, Naparima College, and Princeton Senior Comprehensive, as well as applied his trade in Ignis College in Buffalo, New York. All right, we are bringing him in to continue to address the violence, guys. So let's hand it over to the beautiful, sensational Forish for our lovely intro.
Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room. Welcome to the living room.
And we are back, and we are joined as advertised by Rondell Renwick. All right. Now, before we go any further, I had to put this part into when I was watching Intercol and stuff like that. Rondell was the keeper for Naps, right, Rondell?
I believe so, yeah.
So the rivalry has been there, and rivals have turned to colleagues, right?
For real.
And come September the 9th, you said it's back to a rivalry.
September the 9th, first day, the Digital Cup, Naparima College versus Presentation College, yes.
So, Ricardo, September the 9th, we heading up to Atterbury to watch that game, right?
Yeah, you're getting that. A good thing I'll clarify, because with no disrespect, Mr. Williams, Iran, you don't exactly have the stature of our goalkeeper now. So when you say the rivalry, I was a little curious.
You're thinking goalkeeping rivalry?
Goalkeeping rivalry?
Hey. I had one excellent hockey post debut in goal when I pulled a cord in our We Help football tournament, Ricardo.
Yeah, right. You also had the penalty that won the tournament as well too, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Had to be a hockey-sized goalkeeper. I want to know it. It's a side business.
Might be little tough for him to touch out the crossbar.
Yeah. Jepness right through.
I ain't getting up there.
I just pick a side and put it up.
Yeah, that's how it had to go. Down in the corner, up in, no matter what, I'm not getting up there. Unless it's a hockey post. Anyhow, that's how we talk, because football is something that unites the majority of us. I can't say all, It unites the majority of us, but sport on the whole is something that unites us all. Right? So, Rondell, we're going to kick it off this evening by asking you probably one of the easiest questions you're going to be asked in your life. And we're not asking you, where's the scene, or where's he just physicist or anything like that. We asking you, how are you?
Good question, you know. Good question. No, to be honest, I'm good, man. You know, just grinding. You know, doing the usual. You know, life. You know, family. You know, and when I say life, you know, football is a big part of the life, coaching and these sort of things. So, I mean, a lot of time going into that, but you know how it goes. You know, you sow the seed, you love something, you're passionate about something, and you sow the seeds accordingly. You know. So generally, I would say, you know, I could complain. There's so much things you could complain about. Could complain, but won't complain because the good certainly outweighs the bad. You know.
I like that.
Yeah. My kind of answer.
For real.
I love the fact that you acknowledged that as much as there's good, there's also bad. Because a lot of persons just like to paper over the cracks, right? And ignore the reality in the situation. So I really like that you acknowledge that there is bad, but the good outweighs it. Now, we're not going to talk, we're going to talk about the role of sport in addressing the violence, right? As we continue this series. But yes, Ricardo is in his Barca jersey. I am in my Man U jersey, and Rondell is in his coaching school jersey. We're not talking club football here, so all it do know.
Yeah, Aaron, I wouldn't want you to get worked up for nothing.
Yeah, things aren't looking too bright on my side.
Yeah.
As yet.
Things aren't looking too bright on both sides.
Is that kind of weak?
Right?
Yeah.
Now, let's get down to it now. Now, we know the importance of discipline, as that's one of the watchwords of the nation. All right. How difficult is it? Let's start off there. For you to instill discipline into your stewards, the footballers that you coach, when it's just once or twice a week that you are interacting with them?
Yeah, well, you know, this comes down to really and truly the background of the player, right, or the athlete, so to speak. So, and then the also things that comes down to as well is the level of maturity of the athletes in terms of their age and all these things as well too. Because someone could have a tough upbringing, but as time passed, they become older, started in 17, 18, 19, 20. They become a little more mature and get to and start to understand how to deal with situations in life. So age and experience has something to do with it when it comes to the discipline part, you know, and the background of where the players come from have something to do with the discipline part as well. But how we as coaches, or how I myself would actually address discipline, well, in sports we need discipline, because just to train alone, when it comes to repetitions of things, day in, day out, doing the same thing over and over times, looking for some sort of perfection, that would take discipline, that would take focus. For the young players in particular, it's a lot of mentoring has to take place. It is actually more that takes place off the field than actually on the field. You know, discipline, if you are seeing players 2 or 3 times a week, then you are left, even if it's maximum 3 times a week, then you are left with 4 days without seeing them. We are not around them those 4 days. And even on the days that we are seeing them, we are around them maximum 3 hours. You know, I'd say a 1.5 hour session, you know, half an hour afterwards, you cool down, you talk, you know, afterwards you guys have a shower, so say maximum 3 hours. So 3 hours, so 3 days, 3, 6, 9, that is 9 hours, right? For the entire week that we'll be spending with them. So a lot of the coaching is actually done off the field when it deals with discipline. So for an example, with the younger boys, you try to start the discipline at home, because I believe what they do at home is what they will do at the academy, what they'll do at the clubs, what they'll do at the school football, right? So it's try to start that discipline at home. So for the younger ones, who are still under heavy parenting. Personally, I would do things like make sure they make up their beds, make sure they take out the garbage, the simple little things, right? And I will actually check up on the parents where these things are concerned to find out if these youngsters and they are making up their beds, if they're taking out the garbage and these sort of things, because it's important, because the next thing you can find them doing is coming to the session and they're the most disciplined in the session. But when you talk to the parents say, hey, he disciplined me, when he owe me this, he that. So because they love football so much and have a passion, everything is just zoned in on the football. But yes, we love the sport, but life is bigger than that. We have to be holistic. So in terms of the discipline, we try to make it holistic. We try to get in the homes, especially when dealing with the younger ones, and just start with the simple things. Make up your bed, take out the garbage, say a prayer, regardless to which religion you may be aligned to. It won't matter. It's discipline. When it comes to the older ones, that may be a bit challenging, you know what I mean, to tell an older, but hey, go and make up your bed, you know what I mean, tell a big 19-year-old, 20-year-old, but you go and make up your bed, they should know that. So when it comes to them, it's really and truly about a lot of talking, a lot of encouragement, and just reminding them of their goals, you know, reminding them of their aspirations, where they want to reach. Sometimes we see them falling off when it may come to the level of focus. Us as coaches, we'll observe these things. So when we observe these things, now we would have to actually interject by speaking, a lot of talking, and just reminding them. Reminders are good, you know, to remind them of their goals, remind them of their visions and what they are working towards, so that they can catch back themselves if it is that they are slipping away for some time, because it do happen from time to time. So with the younger ones, as I say, we try to get into the homes. With the older ones, it's more of talking, a lot of talking to them, a lot of encouragement, just to remind them of what they are trying to achieve.
I like that. And I think one of the if memory serves me correct, Ricardo, when he said take out the garbage and make up the bed, it seemed like he was speaking to you there, but we won't get into that.
You stay out of my bedroom, please, Aaron. Stay out of my bedroom.
Right? But I distinctly remember one of the things that one of the most famed football coaches in Trinidad and Tobago, Mr. John Stedman.
Ah, boy.
Oh gosh, Ricardo, I see that.
Aaron, if you go 4 episodes without talking about this one training session I had with John Stedman, I would be surprised.
I didn't have one training session with John Stedman. Well, that's a nice way of putting it.
yeah, you leave out some adjectives.
Yeah, right. I trained with John from the ages of, I think, was 11 to 18.
I could ask him if he still ain't good, you know. But anyway, this is me listening, actively listening.
Right, and I think one of the classic things with John was your car come training with our nasty boots. And we used to see people, you know, we used to train on old naps grounds before it got nice, so like where it is now. You'd see people by the old house that used to be next to naps grounds, by the pipe, 8:30 in the morning before the coaching school start, washing the boots. Because the penalty for dirty boots was laps.
Make a lap.
Mm-hmm. Or I go but here.
Or you will get what?
Yeah. Right? And that's the thing. The discipline has to be there. And it could be as simple as a wash boots. It could be as simple as when they come in on the field for the first time, your shirt have to be in your pants. Whatever the level of discipline the coaches instill is or choose, it's very important, because it's something that goes with the young men or young women as they grow older.
True.
Now, we talk about the things that you instill, but what we talk about some of the innovative ways. Are there any other innovative ways on the field that you would instill? Because we know for Janet, you to stop the play if you make a mistake and make you do push-ups.
Yeah. Well, of course, you know, there's the traditional ways as push-ups, as laps, and these sort of things, but we just try to make it really competitive, you know, because at the end of the day, you know, football is a competitive sport. So we make it competitive. Sometimes our tone as coaches may have to change as well too when dealing with the youngsters. Sometimes I just find myself getting in certain tones that is not really of my character, but I know it's for the better good, right? You're trying to reach this person, and then you're dealing with persons of different personalities as well. So you may have to switch a bit to reach different persons, and that's something we have to recognize as coaches as well too, that we cannot approach every situation the same because we are dealing with different personalities. Some people respond to soft tones. Some people respond to loud tones. Like, for real. Like, try talking to someone softly, they may not respond. And then you raise your tone, you come at them in a different way, and they respond positively. And again, all these things come back to the background that they came from, their upbringing. So in terms of innovative ways on the field, it's pretty much I try to stick to the traditional push-ups. At the end of the session, I always end my session with 100 push-ups, 100 sit-ups, 100 squats, right? Every session, right? And they know what comes after every session, but if they are being indisciplined in terms of lack of focus during the session, because that is part of sporting and discipline as well. When you're not keeping your focus together, I'm going to give them push-ups, I'm going to give them sit-ups, I'm going to give them squats during the session, and they very well know that has nothing to do with the 100 by 100 by 100 that comes after the session, right? So these are some of the traditional ways we would use to get in the brain and just try to keep it competitive. Sometimes we might throw out money there as well too. Hey, who do this, gain a 10. You know what I mean? Who do this, do that, gain a 20. You know what I mean? And to try to make it competitive, yes, you see that discipline as well comes out. Sometimes when we make it competitive, we also see the indiscipline come out. We see certain ways that we did not even know that was in them start coming out, right? So now we are seeing things that, okay, now we have to deal with this, now we have to deal with that, again, to try to make the individual a more holistic human being, because it's not just about football. Life itself is bigger than football.
Now, I like your comment in there, Ricardo.
Yeah, no, I mean, there's several things I could get in on. The first and foremost actually was that make up your bed, put out the garbage thing, right? That principle for me, it hit hard. It hit hard because you're right. You, as I say, stay out my bedroom mirror. What I'm saying is the premise is that you create not just habits that you're disciplined in, but a culture of discipline, where whatever it is you're doing, it have things to do and it have a right way to do things. So it's not like they're switching from being indisciplined at home and disrespectful to mommy and daddy or granny to coming onto the field with the utmost respect for coach. So you're really dealing with two different men, fellas who code switching, because that lends itself to a different kind of thing, where you're seeing a man performance on the field, but then he indisciplined on, let me say, hypothetically, a boat ride, or when he gets an opportunity to go college, because the discipline was reserved for the field and the indiscipline expressing itself everywhere else. And when you mention that it had to do with it,
you're talking about things like breaking camp to go boat ride.
What, Aaron? People just break camps to go boat rides?
Big time.
Right? But when you mention the older guys not necessarily responding as well to the same thing, I'm thinking, but when you join the military though, when you join the military, the first thing that starts in you with is the things that all they talk about. Your basic chores and your duties, making sure your uniform in order, you're making up your bed the way that they tell you to make up your bed. What I'm saying is that it's not that you can't learn at that age. It's just the stakes might be a little different. And
it's true.
Unfortunately, depending on the system that you're in, if you end up in a prison or a penitence system, you have to do the things the way that they tell you to do them as well. So the premise is you could either learn discipline or get disciplined. You understand? The way that you're talking to, it making me feel well. But if it's one man, I would advise would go and study some sports psychology because of how much of it you're already clearly doing is you approaching this thing in a holistic way, you know. So I just want to tell you that a couple times, well, when you see my eyebrows go up and my head nodding, is complete agreement and approval.
And that don't come often.
Blessings, man, blessings. I want to touch on this as you mentioned that. Now, I'm humbled by that. I'm not overwhelmed. I'm humbled by it. My academy, I got my goalkeeping academy. The name of my goalkeeping academy is Save a Ball, Save a Soul Goalkeeping Academy. Now, when one hear the part, the Save a Soul part, they automatically go to a religious sort of mindset, but it is far from that. You know, it's just being holistic. You know, your religious beliefs has nothing to do with you loving someone and caring for someone regardless of their religious beliefs. So when I inserted the words save a soul, it's just about being holistic. It's about reaching the boys on the block. It's about reaching those who are unreachable, right? And caring for those who need that care and attention to save that soul to become a more holistic human being. And yes, we believe in God, but let God be God and let us love. You know? So that's my approach when it comes to the Save a Ball, you know, Save a Soul Goalkeeping Academy. Let God be God and let us love. You have to love, man.
Yeah. Real good stuff, man. I like the approach that you have, recognizing that sport is not just the single event, right? Sport is about the culture, it's about the behavior, it's about the ethic, it's about the relationship, it's about the impact that you have as a coach, as a trainer, as a leader on some of these young fellas and young ladies, as the case might be, right? Which kind of question, your camp, your school, y'all have girls training with y'all as well?
You'll
have girls training with y'all as well?
Yes, actually, we have 3 females with us. We have Celine Logan. She's from Cedros, right? She's currently playing with UTT, right? We have young Akila Merisho. Akila Merisho is, I believe, a standard 4, standard 5 student, right? She goes to St. Gabriel's Girls. And we have the pick of the bunch. When I say the pick of the bunch, the one who has reached a bit further right at this point, which is Keela Walcott. She's currently the national under 20 goalkeeper, and she's abroad on scholarship at this moment as well too.
Now, I'm going to take a moment here to congratulate and let people know that UTT, the University of Trinidad and Tobago, if memory serves me correctly, offers a scholarship program to footballers to come to UTT in I think it's the Omera campus, to play football as well. Right? A lot of persons aren't aware of that because everybody, seeks these scholarships abroad. But scholarships are offered locally for our sportsmen.
Very true. Very true.
And women. Sportsmen and women. We're in 2020. Yeah, we're in 2022.
Yeah, we
Yes. Yeah. I think UTT, they are actually going abroad soon to Mexico. Both the male and female team, they are going abroad soon to Mexico. I think either in the month of October, I believe that is. They'll be flying to Mexico for a tournament. So they are doing great things over there as well.
Nice. Now, you spoke of the Save a Ball, Save a Soul as the motto and the modus operandi for the camp. Now, in terms of, and you're talking about football being, life being bigger than football, right? Now, in terms of keeping troubled youth off the street and diverting the energy into this positive channel, how important is this? Like get down to real issues here now.
That is extremely important. I could jump to the end and then go back to the beginning. The end is you're saving someone's soul this time. We're talking about from death, literal death. Because we deal with a lot of youths who come from different backgrounds, right? A lot of them come from the ghettos. A lot of the talents comes from the ghettos, right? Up to yesterday, I was doing some, I don't want to say charity, but I was doing some voluntary work in Laventille at the Success Laventille School yesterday, you know, and man, when you see the wealth of talent there, young men, young women, you know, and then, like I was explaining to one of the coaches who was there with me, I was explaining to him that, hey, we seen these kids and them real happy here, running and enjoying themselves and learning the game and these sort of things. But then this same community, they, as soon as they leave the school gates, they're going back home to the different sort of atmosphere. All right. And I mean, we born and raised Trinidad and Tobago, so we know what it's about, and this is what they are going back home to. So our input as coaches when it comes to that energy that they would be seeing at home and things that they may even be getting themselves involved in, our part is very crucial to play. So, for example, during the COVID, I would have had these boys and young ladies, I would have had them training on these things. We never stopped training. You know, we trained right through the entire COVID season, and even now we still continue to train. And a couple of them get scholarships. Jabari Gray, former Presentation College goalkeeper, Rashad Hart, former Naprima College goalkeeper as well too. Actually, Rashad would have left 2 weeks ago to go to the US, North Carolina, and what he told me was that he said, Coach, just before he left, he said, Coach, he said, if you didn't have this academy, I don't know what I would have done with myself over the 2 years. He said, I think I might have stopped playing football, and now he's not just further in football, he's further in his academics, he's a student athlete. So now he's in an opportunity to gain a degree and hopefully further that degree to a bachelor's into masters and so on, and also getting an opportunity to further his footballing career, right? Another example is during the COVID, and this is as real as it gets. As I said, I would jump to the end and then come back to the beginning. This is as real as it got. I remember a young man I played football with. His name is Nathan. He's now deceased, right? And he played for the prison's football team. Well-mannered young man, bright future. At the time, he was peaking where his name was starting to ring, and it was just a matter of time for him to get a national senior team call-up. He was one of those names. And during the COVID, he lived in Maloney. He born and raised with these boys and them. These are his friends, right? He's not involved in it, you know, but these are his boys. They grew up together. And just hanging on the block, wrong place, wrong time, gunshots, and that was it for him. You know, his entire, all the dreams, all the aspirations, it came to an end. Now, what's ironic about it is that when they did the track back, you know, you're looking depth in things, and you're like, okay, well, how this could have been prevented. If we weren't during COVID at that point in time, the prisons team, the hour and the day that he got shot and killed, the prisons team would have been in training at that hour on that day as well. So this is how important it is. And parents need, and I'm talking to the parents here too. Parents need to understand how important sports is. Sometimes they just see it as extracurricular, but it's way more than extracurricular. This is the reality of it. Sometimes we have parents just dropping their children. Sometimes we don't see some of these parents at all. They drop the children, they go, they have no clue concerning their children's growth. And I wonder at times, you know, because sometimes many of them just see it as, you know, a way to get the children out of the house, a way to get the children doing something. But it's way more than that. It's way more than that. It's literally literally at this point, saving our soul from death. You know, or as we would say, everyone has to die, but untimely death, something that possibly could have been prevented if the positive energy was transferred. You know, as you mentioned from the beginning of the question here on, with the negative energy turning it into positive. You know, and that's the way to do it. That's the way to keep the boys and them off the streets. They have a passion so into their lives. So now you bring them into the academy, you bring them onto the field. But it doesn't stop there. It takes a lot of mentoring. Coaching is way more than on the field, as I mentioned before. It's just 3 hours a day maximum, day in, day out, 3 days a week, 9 hours a week that we spend with them. That is not enough when you are trying to change someone holistically. So you're going to have to sacrifice a lot of your time. Talking about sacrificing time, what a lot of coaches would also need is a solid support system as well. Some coaches are married, some coaches are unmarried. Myself, I'm married, and if I don't have the support of my family, my wife, and even my kids, but my wife to a greater extent, I would not be able to do the things that I'm doing right now, because she knows how much time this takes to invest into the youths. Many times I leave training, I go to pick up my family, and while I'm with my family on my way home, it's 2-3 phone calls I'm getting, right? It might be from a parent, it might be from an athlete. So I just left that coaching atmosphere to go spend family time. And it's difficult to separate at times, because people need guidance. They're reaching out for guidance. They're reaching out for help. They need people reaching out for encouragement. So that solid support system as well is very important. I mean, I thank God for the support system that I have, right? And it only assists me in terms of giving back to the younger generation.
Now, hearing that story of the young man that was killed, right? It brings me back to some of the talented footballers, you hear me now, Ricardo?
Yeah, thanks.
Right. Hearing that story of the young man that was killed, it brings me back to a lot of the talented footballers which we would have either played with or seen playing when we were younger, right? And a lot of them, I would say, grew up in impoverished neighborhoods, right? And there's one footballer in particular who hails, and I'll call a spade a spade. He hails from just off of Coffee Street. One of the most talented midfielders I've ever seen play. But the discipline was never there with him, to the point that even right before the game, when he was playing SFA, you're seeing him smoking. But the man was one of the most talented midfielders ever. And the thing is, you are correct in saying that the lifestyle and the environment that some of these young men or young women are exposed to sometimes cuts their career short, because football is only part of it. But when you go home, because I was just doing the maths there, the 18 hours that you spend with these young men or women, the players, on a weekly basis, is just less than 10% of the total week. How can you shape the mind of an individual in 10% of the week's time when they are home or in their normal environment for the other 90? That is the real thing that we are fighting, and that we have to acknowledge is the battle that we are facing today. And not just in addressing the violence, but bringing success and exposing true talent to the world. Yeah, Ricardo.
No, just looking at what it is you're saying there, because even with Rondell doing all that he's doing on his end, the teachers in school doing what they're doing on their end, then you still have this space where parents have a responsibility to do what it is they have to do on their end too. So when you start to hear the Spider-Man meme where Spider-Man is pointing at Spider-Man and Spider-Man pointing back, when everybody trying to figure out who responsibility it is for what it is we're seeing and not seeing coming out of these kids, we have to acknowledge that no single body or group responsible for the entirety of it. Everybody have the part to play.
It's a synergistic approach, huh?
Yeah.
Right? Because again, if I like numbers, so you're spending 9% on the football field and coaching, and you're spending 36% in school.
More than half of the time.
No, 45%, half the time and more, as it says. Is this what?
I mean, there's more than half. It still have room for
And I'm going to say, if you get traveling, because,
transit, and in Trinidad,
transit,
that might be our next portion too. Because you
Yeah,
see,
boy.
like this young lady coming from Cedros, right? What I mean is, she could spend time on the road, right? Unless you have a camp down in Cedros. But the premise is that it have people willing to put in the work to give the kids the opportunities to give, let me say wards, because it might not necessarily be a child, right? It might be whoever you're responsible at taking care of, right? And it real hard. Me like to tell you, plain talk. I nearly switch off camera just now when it is you see that this young man would have been in training. Right? That hit me real hard too, because we keep looking at we taking away the things that would empower these kids, that would give them alternatives and options, and then wondering where they're getting room for these things to happen. We don't have the supervision that we used to have. We don't have the involvement. If you get me vexed, brother, with all the respect, when you talk about, because I know it, the parents who drop the kids off and then disappear. And then they will find out from other people that the child have talent or getting a call up. Or so somebody have to tell you, right, how good your child is in the thing that you put them in.
No, well, remember, Ricardo, the sad reality is of a lot of parents, they use these extracurricular activities as paid babysitting.
Yep.
I drop my child off to football camp. I drop my child off to basketball camp. I drop my child off to play cricket. I drop my child off to do gymnastics. And while you're doing that, you're going by the hairdresser, or you might be going to run errands or whatever it may be.
Yep.
That's the reality in it.
What do you feel about that, Rondell? You rather the parents stay and watch the training, or you rather that they go away and give you a space to work with the kids? Because some of these kids not going to express themselves the same way if the folks there.
I'm these kids when I was there.
What I can say is this: we need some sort of genuine interest from the parents. What I can also say is that what I've observed and experienced is that the parents that actually stick around, their children are the ones who are really excelling most, right? Because they are getting that support. Right, they are the ones who are excelling. What I've observed, of course, this is a percentage, right? But what I've observed is that they are not just excelling on the field, but they are also excelling in the classrooms as well. The parents that stick around, you will find that their kids are the ones who are doing well as both student and athlete, right? So I think it would only be positive for the parents to be around, but at the same time, parents also need to know their limits as well too. Sometimes some parents want to get a bit too involved, so the kids now, that's another issue you deal with as well too. Sometimes the parents want to get so involved that the kids are unable to express themselves the way they would like to express themselves with their peers, because mommy there, daddy there, so they're not able to be themselves around their peers because they're still in a home atmosphere because mommy or daddy is there. So now again, that comes down to the parents using their wisdom and using their experience in life to know how to deal with their child, so that their child can be open with them and also feel free to express themselves when they are with their peers, even if they are around.
I want to come off this parents thing, because I have a feeling people will start to take the way that I'm talking personally. But I have to ask because they need to hear it. How much harder is your job when parents undermine your authority in front of the children?
It's difficult. It's very difficult, because now I have to find a way without being disrespectful, right? I have to find a way without being disrespectful to grab the interest back to this child, so that this athlete would understand this is the voice. My voice is the voice you have to be listening to in this space. I am the trained professional in this space. All right, so it's very difficult. I've had to deal with situations like this before, where I would speak with the parents. I would tell them, in particular, I told this one parent, I say, hey, I know you have a huge interest, and this thing about exactly as I said. And I would have told him, in this space, it's my voice he needs to hear. Of course, you need to encourage your child and these things, but sometimes I am telling him one thing, but then the parent with their amateur way of thinking through the game would be given some sort of different instruction that is not technically right when it comes from a coaching standpoint. It may more sound like just observation from their view, but technically, what we are trying to develop the players, it is not the right instruction. So while I'm saying one thing, the parent is shouting another thing. So, I mean, really and truly, when we come across these situations, it is not situations to watch and talk about behind the scenes. Yes, you would observe once, you would observe twice. If you realize it's a habit, it's a situation to deal with respectfully.
Now, we are getting close to the end of tonight's program, and I just have two more.
Don't do that, Ron.
Yeah, I have two questions to throw out really quickly. Now, in Trinidad culture, when it comes to, we'll stick to football here, right? When it comes to football, we love to see our man get beat, right? And because again, they like pretty thing. They want to see a man get capped, as they say. They want to see a man get capped from earth. Or they want to see a man get breed.
Or somebody get sent for beers.
Yeah. Like how any.
Yeah,
they don't go there.
Right. Right. So how do you balance teaching your wards in the coaching schools and even on the teams that you coach, the balance between the fundamental football and the pretty part of football?
All right, so I would come out of the goalkeeping realm here a bit, right? And I'll just talk more holistic in terms of outfield players. The game itself is played in thirds, right? There's the attacking third, there's the middle third, and then, there's the defensive third, the middle third, the attacking third of the field, right? Now, in the defensive third, you want to bring out the ball. The middle third, you want to distribute the ball, whether it's diagonal passes or whether it's forward passes into the strikers. Now, I remember when I was with the National Under 17 football team, this was 2001, 2003, in the year 2003. The head coach of the team was, they call him now Professor Rondell Renwick. All right? He was the head coach of the team. And what he always mentioned to us is this: the strikers in particular, or the attackers in particular, he always tell them, listen, when you are in the attacking third, please feel free to express yourself.
Right.
Now, and then he would go on to explain why he's saying this. He said, because there are people who are paying to see you play. We are also entertainers. And when people come to see you play, you must entertain. So there's a balance. There's a time and a place for everything. At the end of the day, it's a team sport. So whatever you're doing should be in contribution for the betterment of the team. So if you want to dribble past one man, two man, but it have a man open out wide because you already draw the defenders by the dribbling, you're supposed to pass the ball then, not look to take on the other two men.
Right.
So then it becomes selfish and it's not a balance at that point. So now coaching as well would have to step in at that point and correct those mistakes as well too. But in terms of expressing yourself, as we say, sending a man for beers, why not express yourself? However, make sure whatever you're doing, it's in contribution to the team goal.
Yeah.
But I love the point that Professor Rondell Renwick used, which is people are paying to see you play. We must also remember that we are entertainers. We love watching entertaining football. We love sitting to watch an entertaining game. When we watch a boring match, whether it's the EPL, the Primera, the Bundesliga, is the worst. We say the worst things about it.
Yeah.
Spend
90 minutes for nothing. Anyway, let me stop with that. I remember talking to Duff Radanfa Abubakar a couple months ago. I'm a virgin. I'm a boy. He's also a former guest at the living room, and we had a very interesting conversation that emphasized a point. Let me not say he said this. Let me say what I say. That I asked him as to whether or not you, as a coach, as a teacher in the game now, you rather have a player who's a hard-working 6 out of 10 or an indisciplined 9 out of 10. So 6 out of 10 in terms of skill, but he gain you full 100 discipline.
You need 10 out of 10 effort.
You need 10 out of 10 in effort and obedience and instruction, and you know you could count on that 6. Or you rather have the 9 that kind of showing up when you want, might miss a training, but when you only feel bad, you know.
Or pre-season camp.
You know what I'm saying. So as a coach now, because I want to depending on how you answer, I want to just check up in the point. As a coach, you rather see the hard-working 6, or deal with the temperamental 9.
Listen, Sam, I must say, as you mentioned, Duff there, as my former teammate as well too, would have been around some of the national pools together at the level. Say blessings are done fast. Right? To come straight to your question, definitely the 6 out of 10 discipline. Right? Because when it comes to hard work will blow past the skill. It may take time, but for sure, hard work will definitely advance past that person with natural talent and indiscipline. And with the hard work, this person is very coachable, and coaches love players who are coachable. You know, the most satisfying thing for me after a training session, just as players, coaches, we have bad sessions as well too. We want to see our players developing. And one of the most satisfying things is to have a training session, and you know, at the end of the session, you're seeing growth. You know, and that is the most satisfying thing. So to have a player who is 6 out of 10 in terms of natural talent, but the 10 is the hard work is like a 10. Man, I work into that any day, and I'll have patience with that, because this is what we love. We love players who are coachable.
You know, Ricardo, we no, I was gonna say we're getting close. We already at the end, right?
No, I thought it was wrapping up now.
No, what I'm gonna say is I think we need to continue this conversation another time. And I think we need to add someone else to this conversation as well.
Again, that
right? Because we just talk football today, but there are so many other sporting disciplines within Trinidad and Tobago that require the same level of effort and commitment. And these, watch out, like how this rain is be committed to fall whenever it wants. Yeah.
Or whenever I wash clothes. Soon as I go outside to hang up clothes. Guaranteed.
Or when I wash my car. Anyhow.
Not as often as I just wash my clothes, but anyway. I just say
that's alarming. I'm just letting you know.
You know, I ain't going to wash your car with your jersey. Well, but you're right. We have
Wow. Now you can't just blow past that just to look like you just didn't see that.
Yeah, boy.
Sorry, no, that is I was going through a tunnel. It's a bad connection. Well, apologies, no, on the real. Sincerely, we had a rebuilding season ourselves. And by season, we literally meant a season. But anyway, that's beside the point. What I want to suggest, yes, Aaron, I will support your point wholeheartedly. Maybe it would be nice for us to have a cross discipline conversation. Yeah. You know, a basketball coach, a cricket coach, a track coach, and a football coach.
I don't know any cricket coaches.
Don't worry, I know I have people for that. Right? And we have the conversation because you see what is going on in sports in Trinidad and Tobago, not necessarily flourishing per se. We're seeing some good things, but we also seeing a lot of room for us to start working on this thing as opposed to just sporting discipline by sporting discipline. Maybe we could start having some conversations where men could start pooling the leverage, you know, have any conversation as to if there's the grounds that we need to work on, how we could manage these things so that everybody benefit from, as opposed to each organization trying to see about itself now. And maybe it's good to have to start
operating in
silos. So Rondell, I hope you're open to a grassroots conversation where fellas and women like yourself putting in the work, and maybe we could start using this thing to turn it into a conversation that could reach your right ears.
Definitely, I agree with you. When you mentioned that is what came to my mind, the right ears, you know. This is why I took the opportunity as well too, because I'm also a media man, so I know the power of the media, you know, and I am very passionate about the things that we spoke about here today. And man, if we can make a difference in the society and in sports and in football and with sports in general, man, I want to be a part of that, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I'm open to it as well.
Hey, well, born in the living room, man. Aaron,
really quickly, Rondell, before we wrap up, anybody want to say goodnight to, their contacts for the coaching school and stuff like that?
Yeah, well, just to everyone, I mean, I know there are a couple of people out there that may know me, to those who don't.
Yes.
Modesty, you know.
Yeah, boy.
Right, and there may be some who don't. You know, I'm a goalkeeper coach. You can find me on Facebook, Save a Ball, Save a Soul. That's SAVE, Save, A as in letter A, Ball, Save a Ball, Save a Soul, Goalkeeping Academy. You can find me on Facebook and Instagram. And yeah, you can just see the things that we've been up to. Our academy is actually, ironically, held at Presentation College Ground in San Fernando, in Union Hall in San Fernando. Right? So in terms of what I'm doing out there, I want to big up the Presentation College Old Boys as well for granting us the time that they would have given us to use the field, man, because trust me, during the COVID there, we had a couple of the athletes who went on to play pro, who went abroad on professional trials, who got scholarships. And if we weren't granted a venue to train, which is Presentation College Ground in San Fernando, I have to give respect to where respect is due. So thank you to Mr. Larry Usman in particular, right? And to all who support my family, of course, and the well-wishers. One thing I also understand, when you are in the limelight, so to speak, you're on the forefront of things. I get to understand that there are people who would like you. There are some people who would not like you. And then there are some people who would pretend they like you. And it don't matters. All that matters is just you keeping your tunnel vision on and just focusing on the task that is ahead of you, which is to empower lives and to save souls. And that's what my focus is about.
Ricardo?
I can't put nothing on that, you know. This is Ricardo Mitchell, the social stage and the local stage. Thank you for joining us in the living room. Rondell, listen, the time fly because your passion for the topic, it carried the conversation. I could not believe when Aaron started to drop his big word about perilously this and that and the other to the time. Thanks a lot. I will let Aaron do the official thank yous, but I looking forward to our next conversation. This was definitely listen, in terms of addressing the violence, but man, this conversation hit home and it hit hard. It have things that we could probably talk about in the follow-up conversation, but I just want to let you know how much this conversation moved me, and that's a big deal because you could tell, Aaron could tell you I am immovable.
Oh well, that what they say about the goatee men with goatee, you know, we had a rep,
I mean,
right?
you had to have something inside you to do it like this now. But on the real, congratulations, keep up the good work. It's so good to hear that your efforts bearing fruit in terms of the number of scholarships and opportunities that coming out of the academy, and very pleased to have met you this afternoon. Unfortunately under a violent conversation, but hopefully with a forward moving opportunity. So thanks a lot.
Ricardo, thank you as well too, man. Thank you as well.
Remember guys, the hourglass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains, so whatever you're doing, be good and stay safe. Aaron?
This is your truly DJ Aaron 868. I'm always great and I am never late. As usual. Now, let me save that fast. Rondell, firstly, I want to thank you for taking time out of your schedule to spend with us inside the living room. Because these are the conversations that need to be had, as plain as it is. I also want to thank your family for lending you to us for this time period. Right? And I want to thank you again for the human service that you are doing with the goalkeeping academy, as well as coaching the young men at that school on the other hill in San.
On the Paradise Hill.
The other hill. we didn't want to give it too much credit, but yeah. Right, so thank you for the work you're doing there. And as I said, on the 9th of September, we will be in Atlanta. We cheering for the other team. We cheering for prayers.
Right.
as we
Okay.
always do.
All right. Okay.
I,
No problem.
they might take back the monogram, but I am cheering for youth football. That's what I cheering for.
No, we support youth football on the whole, but we have a team we support.
Yeah,
Just
yeah.
like how we all have our club teams we support, despite how bad some of them may be. Yeah, right. And as I always end, I say that love is the currency, so spend some today. Let somebody know that you love them. I think, I'm not too sure, but I think Mr. Desmond is up next with the big band. I'm really not sure. I know he outside doing his thing.
Nice.
Right? So, yeah, keep it up to the True Nation station, guys. We're out, and remember, on the 30th of August, it's Red, White, and Whack, the gospel concert. Be there or be square.
Yeah, well, I did.
Lots.
Thank you guys for having me. Thank you, Aaron. Blessings.
Bless.
Yeah, man.
All right. All right, Ricardo. Take care, guys.